Okay, very good. All right, so we've got that. Anything else on the Strawberry Festival before we move on? The next item is the Ivy Hawn traffic situation. I really... no, they didn't. Sorry.
Oh. Do we have a motion and a second to approve the Strawberry Festival application, or the date, setting aside the date for that? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay. Ivy Hawn traffic situation. I had a chance to talk to Danielle, who's in the booth up back behind us here, principal of the school. The school is required by state law to provide some transportation arrangements. It's rather nebulous as to what those are. It can be, as they had last year and previous years, actual bus service. It can be a carpooling arrangement. It can be a number of things. But they do have to provide some sort of transportation arrangements for their students. They are still working. They have, as of today, I understand, 57 days to come up with a plan. And there are a number of charter schools in the county that all were contracting with the Volusia County School District, and all had their contracts not renewed by the school district. So there's a number of charter schools that are coming together to come up with a common solution. And as I mentioned to her this morning, we really have three problems. One is probably going to not change a bit, and that's simply the parents bringing in their kids in the morning, and that's a fairly common thing now that everybody's used to. Second one is the evening pickup, which again probably won't change too much, although there will be space if we don't have the buses and we don't have any sort of use for it where the buses were, but that may be taken up by a new transportation arrangement. And then the third one is the one that concerns me anyway the most, and that's the safety issue in Blake Park. We have parents who come into the town, park in Blake Park, wait for their children to come out, run across the park, hop in a car, then the parents pretend like it's Indianapolis Speedway and take off through the park, and we've had a couple of near misses of kids being almost run over by other parents trying to exit the park. So we're going to have to figure out a way to somehow restrict the park as a parking lot, particularly during that particular time of after school when we've got kids running across there and parents trying to scoop their kids up and put them in a car. So that's the one that concerns me the most. I think the other one is going to be worked out very nicely by the school itself and coming up with a new transportation plan. But I wanted to bring you up to date on it because it is something that I've had a couple of calls on it myself. What are we going to do? Mostly about Blake Park, not necessarily about the rest of it.
Have you talked to the chief about coming up with a plan?
Oh yes. Matter of fact, I suggested he should come up with a plan.
Okay. Ball's in your court.
That's right. Yes. Okay, let me just, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to call on a couple of members of the public. And Chief, if you want to address this, you can. If you don't, we can wait till you have more of a plan.
It's still a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, I understand that. Mr. Preston?
I think that Mr. Sir wants to address the room on that. Mr. Sir?
Thanks, just had to put some batteries in it. So thank you so much, City Administrator. That was a perfect rendition of what we talked about earlier. I did want to say there's a possibility we may not have buses. We are working with the state right now to see if there's a possible variance or what our other options are. If you don't know, we used to contract with the Volusia County Schools for buses, and they pulled out of the contract May 15th. So we've only had, at this point, 56 days to come up with a plan. There are no other companies that contract a school bus service for Volusia County, and by state law, it has to be a yellow school bus, or we were going to call Butler's Express and see if they could come out. So, I know, right? So that is something that we're working on. The other thing that I would like to maybe put the ball in your court a little bit is we had the sheriff come out to possibly put in, or say that we needed a crossing guard from the sheriff's office. They came out at the beginning of last school year and requested certain things be done. I know Mr. Preston and I were on that walk with them, and they had requested a few things from the city. One was a flashing crossing sign. The other one was to paint the lines for the crosswalk to get to Blake Park. I don't know if that's going to alleviate the issue at Blake Park, but it would cause for a safer route for our students if their parents choose to go across the street. I did work with the police department and sent out multiple messages to my family in multiple different ways for communication to not park over there and to indeed come through the parent pickup loop. We all know you can only say it so many times. So I would encourage maybe we get together with the police station or maybe Lee, you can come out to us and see what they were requesting. They were things that were not on our property, so we couldn't make those adjustments, but we will request again this year to see if the sheriff's office will provide us with a crossing guard.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Mr.
And we'll look up that list from last year. I don't recall getting it, so. Again?
Get done. At my age, Daniel, I want to apologize to you because I'm going to be honest with you, I forgot your name, so I couldn't say anything, but thank you for all your cooperation. She's been here since when I was here at 6, and she's been working with me, so thank you.
We do appreciate it.
I'm going to take the batteries out of this thing soon. Okay.
We have another public comment, Ms. Weary.
Yeah,
If you could come to the microphone.
I really need to.
Yes.
So when Mike Walker started this new route, I was telling him about that before he started it. That's similar to what we used at St. Barnabas. And St. Barnabas has a lot of the similarities that they have here. You don't get out of your car. You don't, I mean, you do nothing but drop off and pick up. We don't go to the park. And it keeps things flowing. So you might want to visit them, talk to them. They're open to that and just kind of know how they do their routine. And I'm sure it would work here just like it does there.
It is a matter of, when it comes to, can I select them? It is a matter is we're not talking like 20 parents here. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of parents. So it has been ongoing since Ivy Hawn opened, that a lot of parents, park in the park. The issue is how they're leaving the park. It's not necessarily that they're parking in the park, because with them parking in the park, that alleviates all that traffic going into the school because there's only one way. So if they weren't in the park, we would have a line of traffic twice as long. So it's the issue.
They are the same situation. They're a large school and they've been doing this for years. And I know when I moved here, there used to be a lot of problems with the traffic. And when I told Mike about my idea of running it the way it's run now, it's become much more efficient.
Absolutely, absolutely. To go back to the way we did it before would not be.
I think you can probably tweak stuff and go visit them. They're super open to come and visit them in the morning, the afternoon, get a feel for how they do it. And it, a lot of the young kids don't want to, they want to be walked up. They just had to stop it because of these kind of issues.
So our current, I don't mean to interrupt you, but our current pickup and drop-off plan is exactly that the cars, they just pull up, they stop, the kid gets out, no one else gets out of the vehicle. I think the issue that we see with our parents is they don't want to wait in the line because it does conflict with Volusia Pines, and our parents can get caught behind Volusia Pines parents because they have to turn in front of them and kind of get around that way. So if there were to be a difference in our traffic pattern, that would be the only way that I could see that there should be a difference, is to not coincide with Volusia County or Volusia Pines parents. But we do have the same situation that St. Barnabas does, and I spoke with them about it as well. So it's the same situation, it's just our parents choose not to follow the rules, so.
They get a ticket. If they go to the park and park, then they get a ticket.
Right, and we sent out that messaging on behalf of Ivy Hawn. We just never saw the police presence across the street to do that. But we did send out that messaging, and it did alleviate the problem for a little while, but if it was a consistent thing, and I know that they're so busy in the morning with Volusia Pines and Ivy Hawn traffic, but I think our parents may not park at the park and do those things if there was more presence out there.
Has anyone considered having staggered times when these schools open and close so they aren't doing it at the same
So we can absolutely discuss that. Our day is longer than any other Volusia County schools. The only time that it's an issue is during drop-off in the morning. During pickup in the afternoon, we're 45 minutes later. We do have to start our day after 8 a.m., and we cannot go much further past that. Our students are here till 5. So we do need to start after 8, but that's only about 10 minutes different. And I believe Volusia Pines is also considering changing their start time a little bit later as well for the new state statute.
So the primary concern, I agree with the city administrator, the critical concern there is the traffic within the park itself, which again, it's not Ivy Hawn's responsibility, it's ours. I appreciate your putting your civic mind to it, and hopefully we'll come up with some good ideas. But that has been voiced to me as a concern as well. I'm sure we've all heard it, that people driving across the park is just a scary thing. It always will be. So we got to figure that out, and we're starting to look for answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Last item that is not on the agenda is Team Volusia, which is the Economic Development Corporation, nonprofit corporation, has an annual request that we continue our association with them. There are 16 municipalities in Volusia County. All but one participates with them. We did last year. They're asking us again this year to participate with them. It would be an annual contribution of $1,789.40. The odd number because they charge 60 cents per capita according to the population given to them by the state, which is 2,974 people. Hence, that's the agreement request. So it does require the approval of the commission to authorize the mayor to sign and execute the agreement. And I would recommend it.
Looking for a motion on that now?
It is. Yes, it's something we've done every year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, or say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
The only other thing I wanted to bring forward, thank you, Mr. City Administrator. The only other thing I wanted to bring forward, we kind of quickly, by combining a couple of things, we didn't really discuss the neighborhood center. I just wanted to say that the neighborhood center annual event is going to be taking place at Granville Farms, which is a very nice thing, great for our community. I mean, they're not officially within the community, but they're close enough to claim them. Just wanted to make that announcement. They're having that event on August 7th, 2023. And it's nice that Lake Helen is being a part of that neighborhood center development. It's been a wonderful contributing member of society for a long time. Neighborhood center has a long time. So I didn't want that to get glossed over.
If I can also carry on with that same topic is, I know we approved the $1,500 for it, but they were asking for a sponsorship, and the sponsorship is $1,000 or $2,500. Unless we do two of them, do the 1,000 and the 500 together. I don't know how you want to split it up. They were asking for a sponsorship, not a donation.
We could do a Pinot Grigio and a Merlot. Yeah, that's how they name them, since it's a wine to water event. We approved $1,500. Do you want to just kind of designate it towards those two things?
Well, that's what they were asking for, is a donation for a sponsorship, and that's what we'd be contributing to. So that just lets you know where it's going to be going to. Either would be a Pinot Grigio or a Merlot, or we could do it under sparkling water, which is any amount.
We could give them a whole lot of water for $1,500, that's for sure. Anyway, I just didn't want to gloss over the Granville Farms participation in that. I think it's lovely. Any further Any further items need to be brought before the commission? Anything from the public additionally need to be brought forward? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.